We have laid a solid foundation, and these commitments will require rigorous follow-up and active implementation in every country. This work begins now and must continue with even greater determination, as every effort, every action, and every initiative counts. We have both the opportunity and the responsibility to protect our lands, restore those that are degraded, and ensure that everyone, wherever they may be, can enjoy the benefits of a healthy and productive environment. Together with determination, solidarity, and responsibility, we will continue to work for the well-being of our planet and its inhabitants, so that we may leave to our children and grandchildren a world where the land thrives and sustains life. Thank you all for your commitment and dedication. On behalf of the President of the Republic of Côte d'Ivoire, His Excellency Mr. Alassane Ouattara, I thank you all for the trust placed in Côte d'Ivoire during these years of leadership at the COP15 presidency. Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I now invite the Conference of the Parties to consider item 1A of the provisional agenda for the session in order to proceed to the election of the President of the 16th session. I understand that there is a general agreement among the parties to elect His Excellency Abdulrahman Abdulmohsen Alfadley, Minister of Environment, Water and Agriculture of Saudi Arabia, to the position of President of the 16th session of the Conference of the Parties. May I take it that the Conference wishes to elect His Excellency Abdulrahman Abdulmohsen Alfadley of Saudi Arabia as President of the 16th session of the Conference of the Parties? I can hear no objection. Do you? None. It is so decided. On behalf of the conference, I wish to congratulate His Excellency Abdulrahman Abdulmohsen Alfadley on his election and invite him to take his seat at the podium.
In the name of Allah, dear participants, I am honored to have been elected President of the 16th COP of the UNCCD. And I wish to express now, I will now deliver my statement in my capacity as President of COP16. In the name of God, in the name of Allah, in the name of Allah, may the peace and prayers be upon the Prophet. Excellencies, Your Excellency, Under Secretary General of the UN, ladies and gentlemen, heads of delegations, member of delegation, may God's peace and blessings be upon you all. It is my pleasure to welcome you all in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the opening ceremony of COP16 of the UNCCD. And we look forward to this conference, especially that it is of great interest to His Majesty the Custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, and His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. We look forward to intensifying action under this convention in order to face the challenges and promote integration between various international environment organizations, conventions, namely the Rio on biodiversity and climate change, in order to achieve ambitious outcomes, in order to limit land degradation, reduce drought, and to achieve the humanity and the welfare of humanity all over the world. We would like to express our gratitude to the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire for its presidency of COP15, and also our gratitude to the Convention's Bureau and Secretariat for their effective implementation of the convention during the previous period. We would like also to thank all member states, international, regional organizations, as well as CSOs taking part in this session. Our agenda for this session includes many important topics related to land degradation, drought, and desertification, which reiterates the importance of working on the UNCCD strategic framework for the period 2018 to 2030, as well as supporting the proposed approach and methodology in order to implement the strategic framework so that we can increase our resilience in the face of challenges that are faced by various regions of the world in terms of land degradation, drought, and desertification. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, as it hosts this session, expresses its interest in preserving environment at the national, regional, and international level. The Middle East is one of the regions of the world that is most impacted by land degradation, drought, and desertification, and we seek to face environment challenges in partnership with the international community. That's why Vision 2030, aimed at protecting environment, limiting land degradation, combating desertification, as our utmost priority, because protecting the environment and natural resources is essential in achieving sustainable development and quality of life. And in order to achieve these goals, we adopted the National Environment Strategy, and we established a fund for the environment, as well as 5 ad hoc centers for environment, namely the National Center for Vegetation Covered and Combating Desertification. We have also updated our environmental regulations in line with international standards. We have established initiatives, programs, and plans to promote commitment to environment regulations, to limit pollution, to develop vegetation cover and wildlife, as well as improving waste management, meteorological services, and other researches. Saudi Green Initiative aims at the restoration of 40 million hectares of degraded land to increase national reserves by 30% in 2030. This goal was launched by Saudi Arabia in 2021, 1 year before the global goal at the end of 2022 in Montreal. We also work on increasing renewable energy to constitute more than 50% of the energy mix in Saudi Arabia by 2030, reducing carbon emissions. And we also have a national strategy for water in order to preserve water resources and their sustainability. And we have implemented many initiatives in order to ensure water recycling and to achieve sustainability of water and the environment. We're also working on a national strategy for agriculture in order to promote agriculture and sustainable management of arable lands, as well as a national food security strategy in order to limit food waste by 50%. Dear participants, international reports show the degradation of more than 100 million hectares of agricultural land, forest and grasslands by every year. And this has an impact on more than 3 billion persons around the world. And this will lead to a loss of $6 trillion per year, in addition to losses in biodiversity and climate change. And this will have an impact on essential components of our lives, namely water, air, and food. And this has an impact on more than 1.8 billion people. This will increase levels of migration, stability, and security among many communities. That's why we need to increase international levels at all levels in order to face these international challenges. The UNCCD is a framework for collective action and cooperation between our countries, and this requires us to observe policies to achieve the goals in order to restore our land, to invest in increasing vegetation cover, innovating in sustainable solutions, cooperating to transfer experiences and techniques, and to adopt programs and initiatives to promote the partnership between governments, public sector, CSOs, finance institutions, NGOs, and to agree on binding tools that promote international joint action. We are optimistic that such efforts will open the way for a new era to preserve our land, to restore it, to limit the impact of drought. And this is not limited to the goals of this convention alone, but will also have a positive impact on climate change and biodiversity, and increase security of water, of food, and quality of life for human communities. We welcome you again, and we wish you a nice day in our country, and we look forward to your effective and constructive participation in this session. This COP will be a historic period of the development of our convention in order to limit land degradation, to limit drought all over the world, in order to secure a sustainable future to the present and future generations. Thank you, and may God's peace and blessings be upon you all.
يسرني الآن أن أدعو صاحب السمو الأمير الدكتور فيصل بن عبد العزيز بن محمد بن عياف أمير منطقة الرياض إلى إلقاء الكلمة الترحيبية. صاحب السمو والكلمة لكم الآن.
أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، الحضور الكريم، السلام.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I welcome you and I invoke God's blessings. Today, I am here before you in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, not just as the mayor of Riyadh, but as a representative of a country that is proud to have taken up one of the greatest challenges today, namely desertification and drought. These are interlinked phenomena which constitute a challenge for our communities, particularly for the most vulnerable communities. And indeed, these are challenges that affect economic, social, and environmental performance, in particular in the context of rapid industrialization and urbanization. And I'd like to welcome you all to Riyadh to the opening of COP16 of the UN Convention on Combating Desertification. We are united in a common mission to promote this fight against desertification and drought. This is crucial for the survival of our planet. These are environmental challenges that can be addressed only if we focus on the vital role played by local administrations, city administrations. Cities are not just addressing the environmental challenges. Cities help us to find innovative solutions. And so we must work at the local level, because this can lead us to genuinely transformative national strategies with specific approaches for cities. Urbanization is a fact of life today. It is also a motivation to transform. Cities are at the center of culture, of civilization, of industry and innovation. Cities are the base of economies and states. Cities lead us, pave the road to development, and so we must promote sustainability. But the question is how to build a balance between urbanization and the environmental needs before us. Riyadh means green space in Arabic, and the choice of this venue shows that we want this region to remain green. Acting on the instructions of His Majesty King Salman bin Abdulaziz and the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, we have considered Riyadh to be a pioneer city, and we are proud of the work that we are carrying out as part of the Saudi Arabia Green Initiative. This is the cornerstone of our policy in environmental sustainability, and we are working to expand our green spaces to include the environment in our urban fabric. So we are pursuing initiatives here in Riyadh because we are aware that environmental issues are not the issue of any one stakeholder, but are a collective issue that requires collective efforts. The partnership which we have built allows us to guarantee complementarity in the role of all the different stakeholders coming together. The national policies are drafted in common, and their implementation takes into account the population's needs. Sustainable development strategies here in Riyadh take a concrete form in the vision that we have to advance sustainability in our city and to promote the environment. We are coordinating all aspects in our initiatives, and this shows our commitment to move forward and to ensure that Riyadh can be a model to follow, not just for our region, but for the world. Through our efforts, we are ensuring that sustainability is not a choice, but a necessity, given the challenges that we face. Complementarity between the national and the local efforts allows us to have a genuine impact on the environment. Our strategy encompasses many different policies, projects, programs, all with the goal of protecting our city's environments and developing its resources. And this is translated into major projects such as the Green Riyadh project and the Hanifa Valley Regeneration Project and other projects in our city. And all of this shows how the environment can be complementary to development. Also, we are working to create more green spaces, more parks, to promote reforestation through the plant nurseries that we've established. We are facing this challenge of desertification and drought, and we believe firmly that no country can address these challenges alone, no city can address these challenges alone. And so we must promote international cooperation through exchanging experience, through collective work. We can find innovative solutions to restore our land and to develop our cities. In conclusion, I would like to wish you every success for COP16. This is not just an opportunity to address collective challenges, but also a means to promote our work for the future. On behalf of Saudi Arabia, I would like to welcome you. We are going to work together for a better future. We are pleased to welcome you to COP16 of the UNCCD here in Riyadh. Thank you.
أشكر سمو أمين منطقة الرياض على كلمته وأدعوكم.
May I thank the Mayor of Riyadh and give the floor to the Deputy SG Amina Mohammed of the United Nations. You have the floor, madam.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, friends, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I thank the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for hosting this crucial gathering. Thank you, my brother, my friend, Ibrahim Thiaw, the Executive Secretary of the UNCCD, for your outstanding leadership. COP16 marks 30 years of the Convention to Combat Desertification. Yet, never before have so many people been affected by land degradation and drought. 40% of fertile land is now degraded, and the results are dire. Rising inequalities, people hungry, people displaced, livelihoods and businesses threatened, environments destroyed, and the foundation of peace, stability, and security rocked. On the current basis of current trends, by 2050, 3 in 4 people will be affected by drought worldwide. But you are in Riyadh to turn the tide. I urge you to focus on 3 priorities. First, strengthen international cooperation on land degradation and restoration. This is in all our interests. No region, no biome, no nation is immune to drought. Ending degradation and boosting restoration requires good governance, regulatory policies, early warning systems, and action across sectors. This COP can drive these efforts forward, reinforcing dialogues, addressing data gaps, and jump-starting collaborative implementation of the Convention, with regular progress reviews that span sectors. The Riyadh Global Drought Resilience Partnership, led by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, is a welcome step in the right direction. It will support 80 of the world's most vulnerable nations to build drought resilience, including by leveraging finance for critical areas. Now we need a clear roadmap to champion drought resilience and land restoration at scale and speed. Second, I urge this COP to ramp up restoration. We have a reservoir of 1.5 billion hectares of degraded land that can be rehabilitated, cared for, and put back into production. The benefits are numerous. Land restoration is a solution to many sustainable development priorities. It can tackle poverty and hunger and help secure fresh water for all. It acts as a social and economic safety net, and it can generate millions of green jobs for our young people. And it is an immense economic opportunity. Every dollar invested can generate up to $30 in return. Restoring over 1 billion hectares is projected to generate up to $1.8 trillion annually. But we need clear investment strategies that unleash the full benefits of land restoration and ensure they are equitably distributed to all. And third, I urge you to prioritize the mass mobilization of finance to scale up these investments. Cumulative investments must total $2.6 trillion by 2030. That is what the world spent on defense in 2023 alone. To date, only 18% of these investments have been realized. We need a step change in finance, and we need those responsible for damage to pay for repairs. Today, private enterprise are leading causes of degradation, particularly agriculture, mining, and cotton production. But taxpayers heal the wounds. Domestic resources account for almost 3/4 of land restoration investment. The private sector represents just 6%. Every land user, big or small, should invest in their land to ensure their business remains sustainable. Governments must end subsidies that incentivize harming land and replace them with measures to encourage land-positive investments. Development assistance investments must scale up support to combat desertification, land degradation, and drought. Excellencies, land sustains us, and we are destroying it. Action cannot wait. I count on you all, together in solidarity, to take the chance you have in Riyadh to deliver a successful COP for peace, for prosperity, and for the planet. I thank you.
أشكر معالي نائبة الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة. الآن أدعو
I would like to thank the Deputy SG of the United Nations and give the floor to the Executive Secretary of the CCD. You have the floor, sir.
Merci, Monsieur.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President of the Conference of the Parties, Your Royal Highnesses, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Saudi Arabia. Ahlan wa salam wa marhaba. Saudi Arabia is a land where hospitality and generosity are not just traditions, but are a way of life, deeply anchored in society and culture down through history. Like the date palm that stands tall against the winds and the sand waves of the deserts, offering its fruit to all who draw near. The Saudis are known for their open hearts and their unvarying kindness. And what of the camel? As we mark this International Year of the Camelids, the camel which endures the harshest desert conditions, a symbol par excellence of resilience and perseverance. Here, hospitality has endured down through the ages, welcoming guests from around the world with warmth and respect. The act of offering dates with Arab Cafe is a way of making you feel at home, sharing with you not just food, but also a piece of heritage and national pride. I know that you will share my experience and that you will feel at home here during your stay in Saudi Arabia. Mr. President, our planet has become sick through land degradation. Close to 40% of its surface is now affected. This disease is progressing at a terrifying pace. Every year, healthy lands of the size of Egypt are affected. As the planet's immunity falls, opportunist viruses are causing an unprecedented epidemic cocktail of drought, of dust and sandstorms, water shortages, all exacerbated by climate change and biodiversity loss. This picture, bleak though it may seem, could also be seen as a glass that's half full rather than a glass half empty. Because we do have vaccines, we do have accessible treatment tools that are affordable.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this is not just the third and final COP under my tenure. It is a pivotal moment. Over the years, we have seen land restoration emerge as one of the most effective tools to address some of the greatest challenges of our time: climate change, food insecurity, economic inequality, forced migration, and even global instability. Together, we have established Together, we have accomplished a lot. However, our work is far from finished. Indeed, scientific evidence is unambiguous. The way we manage our land today will directly determine the future of life on Earth. Land restoration is first and foremost about securing the foundation of our economy, security, and humanity. In this regard, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for its vision and leadership in elevating the global land restoration and drought resilience agenda. Whether through the G20, hosting this landmark COP and building its legacy, or the Saudi Green Initiative, or again, most recently, the Middle East Green Initiative. The UNCCD call to address desertification, land degradation, and drought is no longer a whisper. It is being recognized at the highest levels of global decision-making, signaling a global recognition of its transformative power. We have seen how the land and drought agendas have been at the core of important discussions, not only at the UN General Assembly, but also at the G20, the G7, the BRICS, the World Economic Forum, and the Arab Coordination Group, to name just a few. Major large-scale land restoration and drought initiatives such as the Great Green Wall in Africa, the G20 Global Land Restoration Initiative, the International Drought Resilience Alliance have built their approaches on the foundations laid by the UNCCD parties. We are glad to note the powerful impacts of our COPs, both in India, under the initiative of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to restore 26 million hectares, and in Cote d'Ivoire, with the Abidjan Legacy Program of President Alassane Ouattara, costed at $3 billion. We welcome and applaud the important Saudi-led legacy of COP16 that will be unveiled today and tomorrow. These efforts have generated political momentum and a broader understanding that addressing land degradation goes beyond ecology. Land restoration is primarily about nurturing humanity itself. And that is what COP16 is all about. I recall visiting the haunting expanses of the Aral Sea, once the world's fourth largest freshwater lake, shared by Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. Standing here, where life was once flourished, I saw a barren wasteland, an environmental disaster of unimaginable scale. It was a poignant reminder of what is at stake. Every second, somewhere in the world, we lose an equivalent of 4 football fields to land degradation. Land and soil loss are robbing poor families of nutritious food and children of safe future. Land degradation aggravates poverty, disrupts food security, impacts health, and even forces families to migrate. It is the land and soil beneath our feet that grows the cotton for the clothes we wear, secure the food on our plates, and anchors the economies we rely on. The cost of land degradation seeps in every corner of their lives. They see the rising prices of groceries and unexpected energy surcharges, and in the growing strain on their communities. I have spoken to farmers, mothers, and young people who are living this reality every day. Their resilience is inspiring, but their struggles remind us that land degradation and drought do not recognize borders. Power blackouts multiply as dams go dry due to drought. Nuclear plants in Europe have struggled to stay operational as rivers dry up. Global supply chains falter in the Panama Canal due to insufficient water, or in the Suez Canal when sand and dust storms make navigation difficult. By 2050, 3 in 4 people globally an estimated 7.5 billion people will feel the impact of drought. The stories I have heard and the places I have seen make one thing clear. We must act now to restore our lands. They are the foundation on our everything. For the first time, through the UNCCD national reporting, we now have an evidence-based estimate of the alarming status and trends in land degradation. According to the UNCCD data, in the 4 years to 2019, healthy land, the size of India and Nigeria combined, was affected by land degradation. Agriculture, overgrazing, urbanization, mining, deforestation, and other factors are driving this decline, compounded by climate change. But a deeper injustice and inequalities exist. Those who farm often do not own the land. Women only own 13% of agricultural land. 13%, I said, 1/3 of agricultural land, for example. When they do own, it is often a marginal land. Those who produce are often at the very bottom of global value chains and rarely benefit from them. Rural communities are being left behind, while the wealth created from their labor often fills someone else's basket. So COP16 is our reliance on land, but it is also about resilience. COP16 is specifically about drought resilience. Multiple articles of the convention text refer to drought. The last 7 COPs have had decisions related to drought, and COP16 will hopefully be remembered as the conference where the most important decisions on drought were made. We are all gathered here to make COP16 a historic moment. The world expects parties to adopt a bold decision that can help turn the tide on the most pervasive and the most disruptive environmental disaster. Drought is a slow onset, a silent killer. Drought wreaks havoc on nations' economies. It provokes or amplifies massive wildfires. It disrupts food production and water security. Drought disrupts energy production, both hydro and nuclear, two low-carbon sources. Droughts have become more frequent, more intense, and have expanded into new territories. No country is immune. No biome is spared, not even tropical and boreal forests. So after 30 years of deliberations, including 6 consecutive years of intergovernmental working groups, all eyes are on us. This is a lot of pressure, but we must seize the pivotal moment. Together, we can reverse the trends of land degradation and build a more resilient world to drought. Together, we can make a real difference in people's lives. Together, we can unlock the true potential of our land and protect our planet, our home. Mr. President, before I conclude, allow me to express UNCCD's deep gratitude to the outgoing president from Côte d'Ivoire for not only hosting us in Abidjan in 2022, but for successfully leading the COP Bureau for the last 2.5 years. While negotiations at COP16 are led by governments, I want to pay tribute to members of civil society, other non-state actors, including business, for their unprecedented contributions and participation. Allow me to also express my gratitude to the UN family. Thank you for your unwavering support. My gratitude goes to all executives of UN agencies and treaties, to international organizations and intergovernmental organizations, academia, financial institutions who have played a key role in helping design and run the thematic days of this COP. To all exhibitors in beautiful pavilions and all who populated the most beautiful green zone I have ever seen, to all invisible hands who spent endless hours to make this conference happen, I only have one word: shukran. بالنسبة لبلدنا المضيف شكرا.
For the host country, I would like to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. May I thank the King and the people. Accept, please, our heartfelt thanks. Thank you, and thank you again, and thank you again for your hospitality. I thank you for your generosity. May the peace of God be upon you.
أشكر معالي الأمين التنفيذي لاتفاقية الأمم المتحدة لمكافحة التصحر.
I thank the Executive Secretary of the Convention for his statement. We shall now hear the introductory statements, opening statements, beginning with the statement by the Prime Minister of Mongolia, who is the host of COP17.
At the outset, I would like to thank the United Nations, Mr. President, as well as the presidents of COP16, COP17, and all the distinguished guests and delegates who have gathered here from all over the world in unity to protect our Mother Earth from climate change and desertification. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. At the outset, I would like to underscore that it is an honor for Mongolia to take over the responsible relay of the host of the 17th session of the Conference of the Parties of the United Nations Convention to combat desertification from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Indicating our commitment and attachment of high significance to the organization of the conference, as the head of government, I am participating in this conference along with members of our preparatory working group. I am delighted to visit the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, a country with a centuries-old rich history, for the first time as the Prime Minister of Mongolia. Our nation is renowned for its empire history, ancient nomadic civilization, clear blue skies where mighty falcons race their speed, and vast green steppes where swift horses race their power. In this regard, Mongolia is close to the Gulf countries in terms of customs and traditional mindset. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince and Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, representative of the great leaders of the new era, who is setting an example internationally through his noble deeds, such as Saudi Vision 2030, the Saudi and the Middle East Green Initiatives, and MISC Foundation for Youth Development, as well as to his government for successfully hosting the 16th session of the Conference of the Parties of the UN Convention to Combat Desertification. Ladies and gentlemen, climate change and desertification impact every country and our citizens' daily lives. According to the United Nations, the frequency of natural disasters in Mongolia has doubled over the past 2 decades. To name just one example, last winter we witnessed the heaviest snowfall Mongolia has experienced in the past 50 years, triggering harsh drought that killed millions of livestock of our herders who live in close harmony with our Mother Earth. And the previous summer saw severe floods in over 50 years. This has a great impact on the livelihoods of our citizens, and we notice and experience such cases daily in every country in the world. Indeed, land is the future. Hence, this conference is being held under the theme, Our Land, Our Future. I truly commend and agree with the statement of this conference, but it is very important for us to understand and remind us that we need to work even closer to address the challenges of our time. And the current situation warned us to stand for each other, to safeguard our land, which is the future of humanity. In other words, it is very important for us to stand for each other and support each other and work even closer. Especially, I would like to mention the pandemic, which has warned us the important time that we have to stand together. Therefore, I call for convening the next conference under the spirit of one for all for one. It is a spirit of enhancing cooperation and support integrity among other nations. Mongolia also proposes an initiative to establish a global coalition for future rangelands and pastoralists during the 17th session of the Conference of the Parties to the UN Convention to Combat Desertification. I believe you will discuss in detail about this initiative during this COP. I wish to take this opportunity to express gratitude for your support of the UN General Assembly resolution declaring 2026 the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists. Honorable guests and delegates, with the view to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, the Government of Mongolia aligns its activities and collaborates in close partnership with international organizations and other countries on climate action and affordable and clean energy. Hence, we have newly established the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change. We are implementing the Billion Trees National Movement at the initiative of the President of Mongolia. Since its launch, 84 million trees have been planted, bringing the number of seedlings to 63 million, which is considered a good practice among other nations. Moreover, Mongolia has joined the High Ambition Coalition for Nature and People, which aims to designate 30% of the land as protected areas by 2030 to combat desertification and create a comprehensive forest ecosystem. Currently, 21% of Mongolia's land mass is under national protection, and we aim to increase this number step by step. Mongolia has always paid special attention to wildlife conservation and traditional nomadic pastoralism. I am pleased to note that initiatives such as Responsible Nomads and Sustainable Kashmir implemented within this policy are commended internationally. We are also working to carry on comprehensive reforms to support green solutions and investments and introduce green banks and green financing schemes to support the green transition. In this framework, we have launched a project finance for permanence called Eternal Mongolia in collaboration with international nature conservation organizations. I also wish to inform you that we have agreed with the government of the People's Republic of China to establish the Mongolia-China Desertification Prevention and Control Cooperation Center in Ulaanbaatar. Furthermore, it is extremely important to implement large-scale clean energy projects to reduce the impact of climate change and carbon emissions. We praise projects like NEOM and Masdar implemented in the Gulf countries. Mongolia also prioritizes the transition to clean energy and energy price liberalization and has begun to realize major reforms in the investment and tax environment to promote clean energy production. In this regard, we invite governments, investors, wealth funds, and the private sector to cooperate with us in these projects for mutual benefit, especially in supporting Mongolia's renewable energy transition. Ladies and gentlemen, in Mongolia, July is an excellent time when we celebrate our Nadam festival. During this time, we also organize the annual Mongolia Economic Forum right after the Nadam festival. Taking this opportunity, I invite you to Mongolia to enjoy our Nadam, a symbol of the conservation of pristine nature and living in close harmony with Mother Earth, and participate in the Economic Forum. I wish the 16th session of the Conference of the Parties of the UN Convention to Combat Desertification great success. Dear guests and delegates, I invite you to attend COP17 in 2026. Let us reunite in Mongolia, the land of the eternal blue sky. Thank you very much.
أشكر معالي رئيس وزراء جمهورية منغوليا على بيانه. الآن أدعو
I would like to thank the Prime Minister of Mongolia for his statement, and I now give the floor to Professor Rockstrom.
Your Excellencies, heads of delegation, colleagues, friends of planet Earth, I will give you a scientific update which first and foremost summarizes as follows. For the first time in human history on planet Earth, we scientifically are forced to consider the following risk. We are currently halfway through the decisive decade that very likely will determine the future of humanity for many generations into the future, unless we bend the curves and start truly transforming back within a safe operating space of a resilient and healthy planet. We are today finding overwhelming scientific evidence that we are at risk of destabilizing, of losing resilience and undermining life support at the planetary